students today, they communicate differently, they use technology differently. You have to adjust how we teach to what we did. If you still lecture the same way that Newton did, you're in trouble. You really have to think about the changes.
Yeah, what I was surprised when I studied in California, the first thing I amazed was no American is sleeping in the class. And only so I didn't, expect that the Facebook, napping.
Maybe I could just add, I was chastised recently at Berkeley for answering an email of a student who had a difficult question regarding the course that I was teaching. I was chastised because my answer was too long. It did not fit on his cell phone screen. We have to learn how to do that.
So we have to adjust our responses to fit within several sentences.
140 characters if you can do it.
Twitter, I see. Okay, thank you very much. I'd like to move on now to another topic. With going with more of an online system, you need an online management system, learning management system. Can you share with us what types of systems you're using on your campus, for example, to implement all these different types of online learning?
There are many options, and I don't think anyone is better than another. What I can tell you at MIT is that we have chosen essentially to develop our own online system. It was originally called MITx. We partnered with Harvard, another great institution in Cambridge, to create edX. And edX, but many other companies will do the same thing. It provides a platform on which you can put online material, whether that's lecture material, whether that is automatic grading of problems, whether it's access to text. What I would point to you is I think you're going to see a lot of changes very soon in this space. One of them already is that Google, for example, chose to join edX to discontinue their own online platform. And they launched something, it's a terrible expression, it's called MOOC.org. MOOC.org. But it is access to the cloud so that any university that wishes to post their material online can do so. I'm told that Microsoft intends within a month or so to release an add-on to PowerPoint that will make it very easy for any professor to create online materials, whether it's a small camera recording a lecture, whether it's creating problems. And I realize, Professor Cross, that's not quite what you asked. You asked about learning management systems. I'm not a fan of learning management systems in the sense of some structured database for handling all of this, but a platform that does make it easy for faculty to share material, I think, is important. And in our case, we've chosen to create our own, but there are many other options. What I think is important here is that it's easy for a faculty member to do this. It should not take a professor a year to create an online course. It should be something where they can take existing material and in very brief amount of time create something that they can put online. Yes, the question is, how about the cost? University president asking that question. I'll tell you our experience. We estimate that once the platform is built, and that platform, by the way, is open source, so anybody can use it, they can contribute to it. We estimate that the cost to create an online course the first time is somewhere between 100 and 200,000 US dollars. That means you need some faculty time, you need to hire some staff, you need to do some processing of the video. That's for the first time. Once that's done, then the maintenance cost is much, much less than that.
I would only add that Berkeley has also joined edX. We still have a number of faculty who have been using other platforms, and that will go on for a while, but I'm pretty sure the major migration will go towards edX. We also use a series of web-based teaching tools and some learning management packages. The one that Berkeley is just beta testing now, I'm using it in my class, is released by the company called Canvas, and this is one where faculty can actually monitor real-time how many students are accessing the website, what types of access they are seeking. Are they looking at your lecture notes? Are they looking at the answers to the problem sets? Are they chatting with one another? All of this can be monitored by the faculty. Now, you know, I come from that country that knows about the national security agencies overstepping boundaries, and all of this has to do with what has happened recently in a number of the high-tech industries concerns too. But I think we have some very good tools, and I don't think we have to look too far to make an appropriate choice.
Only thing I can say is Japanese universities are very behind in this utilizing this online teaching. And I just heard the University of Tokyo joined the Coursera. Yeah, and Kyoto University edX, and just recently Osaka University also joined the edX. But Tokyo University, Kyoto University is offering only 1 or 2 lectures so far, I think. Yeah, so that we are pretty much behind. But thinking about the effective teaching, you know, I understand that this online teaching method is very effective, as after hearing your you know, experiences. So probably more and more Japanese university will join. That's, yeah.
If I could add, building on Professor Gronsky's, I go back and forth between are we Ron and Eric and the Yoshi, but we're friendly up here. One of the things that can be really valuable to a faculty member, and I know there are many in the audience, is that with the online tools, you can build what today we would call a dashboard. And so I'll give you an example. If you put your lectures online, just even internally to your students, you expect them to look at it. You ask them to work on some problems as part of that. Before you go into your class participation, you can very quickly see how many of my students have tried this problem, how many have solved it, how many times did it take them to solve it. And that tells you things like, this material, they all know it. I don't need to spend more than 5 minutes reviewing it. But this material, they're all struggling with, so I want to spend my time there. If you try and walk into a class and just say to students, you know, please raise your hand if you did not understand this, no student is going to put their hand up, right? But if you have a dashboard, so the online tools become really valuable at giving you a snapshot of where your students are. There's an expression we're using now that you don't have to do a MOOC. You can do a SPOC, S-P-O-C, small private online course. So that is really valuable to teach in your own campus.
Thank you all for your comments. Can you give us an idea of how much of, well, first I should jump into the active learning and online learning. For example, how much of your faculty are actually involved in that type of online courseware or e-learning, and how do you get them to make the transition from where they were before into the online? Do you provide them with some incentives, or?
Again, let me take a first answer to that. And let me separate a MOOC from using online on campus. MOOCs are more expensive to produce, they take more time. Even with MOOCs, I think MIT now has about 30 courses that we've put available overall. But on campus, we have, I want to say 40 or 50 classes already where faculty use this. It's growing rapidly. And the reason it's growing rapidly is that many faculty very quickly realize that immediate feedback, instant feedback, is tremendously valuable to a student. Many of you have probably had this experience. Maybe you're having it right now. You listen to somebody talk. It all makes sense. You think, yes, I understand that. And then we ask you to do something with that knowledge, and you suddenly go, oh my goodness, I didn't really understand what that person was saying. More about me, perhaps, than my colleagues here. The reason I say that is that immediate feedback helps a student very quickly make the learning active. Do I understand this or not? So to answer your question, that's where we see faculty very quickly saying, this is valuable. As long as the tools are easy to use, faculty will adjust right now. So at least at MIT, we do not have to provide incentives. Not every faculty member will do this, but we have, as I said, I think about 50 courses already using this. We have at least another 100, 200 faculty members ready to do this, and we just need to find the time to help them make it happen. Not every discipline will work this way. There are, in the humanities, I worry that this is much harder. For example, if you're teaching literature, can you really do it with online assessment? But even there, we find philosophy classes being taught with online tools. We find architecture classes being taught with online tools. So we're seeing faculty showing a lot of interest. We've not had to provide enticements other than perhaps providing them with some release while they develop the course. But other than that, we're not having a problem.
I think the same thing could be said at Berkeley. We are not really having a problem, but it is slower than many of my colleagues would like. I can share this with you, though, and this is an interesting observation that we had. Many of my colleagues were provided the chance to have a film crew come to film their lectures so that if they had to leave town on travel, students could tune into their lectures without having to worry about missing their lectures. And some of my colleagues who are actually a little older than me had this done and said to me, I look terrible on camera. So then they were invited to come into one of the studios where we do a very professional presentation. And then they said, I look like a movie star. So there is a benefit to taking advantage of the professional organizations that can help you not just look good, but also prepare the proper presentation of these materials and to have these very important assessment tools built in. It's extremely important for you to be able to make your point the way you think it needs to be made, and then see how the students really got it or not. And online allows you to do this better than anything else, as you've been hearing. Maybe I could say one more thing. The effort is quite large. There's a big activation barrier that you have to go through to make sure this is done right. And think of this. Let's say you spent hours and hours and hours developing a full set of problems, homework problems that you would like to give to your students. These are now going to be posted online, and the solutions are going to be posted online. Question: would you give the same set of problems on the next offering? Because all of the answers are already out there. So the maintenance of a site like this means that the faculty are also engaged with freshening up the problem sets, changing them from semester to semester, and being sure that you're fair about it. I don't know about you folks, but every time I'm asked to repeat a problem set, I always make it more difficult. And we have to be cautious about that when we teach in this way.